So we are live. Good morning, T, brother.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to see you.
Bro.
How's things?
Can't complain, thank God. All is good.
Good. Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting me down to have a conversation. Conversations is something that I love more than anything. But before we do, of course, I would like to say thank you to the Organic Cold Press Juicery. They're today's sponsors for the podcast.
Great place to visit, man.
It is a great place to visit.
Yeah.
It's actually my wife-to-be's place to visit. And she established the Organic Cold Press Juicery in 2017. And it was the first acai, cold pressed juice, healthy protein shake place in Marbella back in 2017. Now there's many options, but she stood the test of time. So thank you to the Organic Cold Press Juicery today.
Yeah, big thank you. Loads of love and good energy in that place. That's why people keep going there. People keep coming back there. Amazing place, amazing people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to have that in Marbella. It's a blessing to have that in my life. And I actually remember the first time that I went to the Organic Cold Press Juicery. Sarah invited me down.
Yeah.
And this was like a day after our first date. So that's when I really knew she's inviting me down to the business.
Had you been there before that?
No, I'd never been.
Crazy.
I'd never been,
Crazy,
which is just kind of how fate works, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the realm of the universe, God's plan, it kept us apart until he needed to pull us together.
Right timing.
Right timing.
I actually witnessed the whole story because I knew both of you beforehand.
You did.
It's crazy. It's amazing when you talk about timing and how things are put together. This is for everybody. Don't always focus on what's happening to you. Focus on what's happening around you, because it's all stories of hope. When you see someone doing well, it means you're on the right path. You see where they've come from, what they've been through, and the result. So that's what I witnessed from your story, and I witness it from many people around me. I see many stories of hope. It keeps me going to hear things like that. So amazing story. I'm sure you'll share it with the world one day, but what an amazing story.
It's one of the things that I'm most proud of in my life.
Yeah.
Because you talk about hope, and I think if this is the place to be real and kind of like lay the cards out on the table, and this is the first real podcast that I've done. I've done a couple of online pods, but to be sat in a studio environment, sat opposite a friend, a friend that, as you say, you've been through that journey with me.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
I was beginning to lose hope. I was beginning to lose hope with the Marbella dream, with,
You was about to do a TV show abroad, weren't you? You was just about to leave.
I was about to enter the dark side. I'd signed the contract for the TV show.
Yeah.
And, I remember that phone call, calling them up and saying, no, life's like all of a sudden realigned me to my purpose.
Passing clients on and shit like that. I remember. I was thinking, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
But that's what realignment is all about. And you talk about, when you witness other people who are seemingly going through healthy and happy transitions in their life, be it professionally or personally, I think the default in many human beings now is envy. Yeah. And you raised such a beautiful point about hope. When you see it, you're being presented an opportunity to believe that it's possible.
Of course, and that's why you have to be happy for people, because you then jump on that train of hope to your successes and what life has in store for you. If you envy anybody, you're not looking for your own promises, you're looking at everybody else's promises. You are promised things in a lifetime, but you have to stay on that path to receive your promises. I can't have what Joe has. Joe can't have what I have. We're all different, and if you just let God do what he's supposed to do and not deviate and leave your hands and your heart wide open, everything is gravitated towards you, because we're all special and we all deserve to be happy. Yes, some things you will be tested. When you want something, I can picture, like when I see you two got together, I said, no, that's like kind of the dream couple. Does that make sense to you? Without envy, but you suited perfectly. Do you understand? So I said, okay, like when I look at things like that, you went through a rough patch just before that. But, you know, it's like training for a boxing match or anything. You have to be tested. And if you say you want something, if you tell God, some people call God the universe, however you place it. I believe in God. If you tell God you want something, you will be tested if you want it. If you say something, you'll be tested if you mean it. So be careful. They say be careful what you wish for. You will be tested if you want it, you know, and that test might come in many ways. And I see you go through the test as I've experienced my own test. That's why I call it stories of hope, because if you pass that test, it just brings you to the next level. And it sets you free from so many other things, because you're now content in your life. So there's no envy. If you're content in your life, you can't envy someone else's life. You're too busy being happy, you know? And I see you guys happy all the time. I see your lovely family, you know what I mean? So it's a great thing. So like, great gratitude like for where you are as a brother, because like I said, your story of hope to me. You know, like there's several little sunshines in my life that I look at and I say, okay, yeah, you're one of them, because I see it come together, you know. But my journey is different from yours. But I know my steps are taking me somewhere, you know. And like I said, you're going to have things that test you as an individual, that test your character, that forges your character, that puts you in alignment to where you're supposed to be. You know, there's certain things they say, like, we might want something, but it's not good for us. We might not want something, but it's best for us. It's in the Quran. Do you understand? But God knows what's actually best for us. So, you know, it's taking them steps to move forward. And, you know, I think you should share your story with people, because it enlightens people. You know, it's like getting a candle, but just lighting it.
100%. I kind of knew we'd go deep today.
Yeah, it's a deep one, you know.
I always do with you, though. Conversations just sat over coffee are no different to this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the beautiful things, one of many beautiful things about you, because, you know, there's always an outlet to be able to experience something, you know, to feel something. And that could be a moment of expression, or it could be a moment of recognition. It could be a moment of recognition for where you've been and where you're going as a human. And one of the things that I was excited to talk to you about today is fatherhood.
Yeah.
And it kind of leads us on from, you know, the trials, the tribulations that all men face. And at some point, becoming a father is going to allow you a moment of recognition for where you've been. Because I feel that a lot of men, especially, they are just so in the moment that they can't express themselves. They can't sit and reflect on where they've been. But fatherhood makes you do that. It stops you in your tracks, or at least that's my experience. And I wanted to ask you about your experience of that, whether fatherhood gives you more reflections than perhaps, you know, a change of career would, or a change of even environment would.
Fatherhood is a touchy subject for me. It's one of the best things I'm good at, do you understand? And one of my faults as well, if I'm honest, do you understand? As a father, I became a father at the age of 19.
Wow.
Greatest gift in the world.
At 19, how did that make you feel in the moment? You know, because you were a vastly different individual at 19 to today, no doubt.
It's a blessing, because you know what? At 19, I don't believe I was scared of anything.
Fearless.
Yeah. So it was a blessing. It kept me grounded. You know, like God puts purpose. He puts it like God's perfect timing. I was fearless in the sense that I could lose it all today, and just fearless in any sense. And even that's why it wasn't so daunting becoming a father at 19, because everything was take it straight head on, keep moving and deal with it. Take it one step at a time, keep moving. Whatever the outcome, but I was fearless. And like I think about it now, and I could have went totally down a different path if I never had my son. But I had a group, like, till today, one thing I thank my parents and God for, I got a good moral compass, but I was still fearless, you know. And when you think about that, even till today, I guess I'm fearless, but I do care about the people around me. Do you understand? And this is what my first son, done for me. Gave me a different scope on life, you know. And it just helped me stay grounded. I've focused on my family. And if I never had him at that age, I wouldn't be a great father today. Do you understand? I was always a great uncle. I always knew fatherhood would be a great experience for me. But fatherhood has its experiences as well. So it was smooth to a certain extent. And it changed. It changed in a sense that let me be real. Fuck it. The fatherhood, I had my first son at 19. Then me and the kid's mum split up. Then we had another child, I think, when I was there's 6 years between them. So 19. So I was about 25. Then I had my daughter at 27, all with the same woman. But the realness is, when you have children with someone, you want to make sure you love them. You know, you're going to love your children, but when you raise children with love, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's a totally different thing. At the time, I was in love and I was doing my bit as a dad. When we split up and we had a second one, I said, you know what, it was I said, look, I'm going to stay here now because I've taken it on myself to have another child with this woman. And, you know, I don't encourage breakups. But we, as men, we got to be responsible. Like, you have to be responsible and make your choices very wisely. Some things is out of your hands. Some things, I don't regret none of my children. That's all in God's hands. But in approach and understanding and dealing with things, you got to be responsible, you know, because when you break down the word, I learned this from a book as well. I think, I forgot the name of the book. Something about man. Something about becoming a man. It talks about rite and passage. If you break down the word responsible, you've got to be response-able. Do you understand? So you've got to be able to respond in the right manner to anything, especially if you're emotionally connected.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So,
so what path do you feel, you know, you would have taken had you not had a child so young? I mean, fatherhood's always been something that's in you. I can see that you're expressing that. You were a good uncle as well. In actual fact, much the same as myself. Yeah. You know, everybody's story is unique, but I identify with some things that you say there. My sister had children young. She had her first daughter young in the family home still. You know, so I was doing the 3 a.m. nappy changes and feeds.
That's mad because my niece is actually here now. My niece is here now. I used to babysit at like 12. She's actually here in Marbella at the moment. She's 32 now. So
wow.
So there's a 10-year difference. But I was always I got a strong connection.
A bond, yeah.
Differently, I think I was fearless, and I could say I was easily influenced. Yeah.
And I can identify with that, especially at that age, 19, 20, 21.
So it's like you could see how it could just go wrong. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I had a sense of loyalty to whoever was around me, regardless of what they'd done. But growing up now, loyalty is about me. If I'm loyal to myself, I'm just as loyal to you. But believe this, if I'm not loyal to myself, I can just as easily turn on you. Yeah. Does that make sense? But
that's powerful, man.
But if I'm real, and you see me as real, I'll always be loyal to myself first.
That's powerful, and that comes from the old adage of self-love, and that's something that, you know, we go back to masculinity, polarity, how to operate in relationship with a woman. This is something that I see as an almost lost art.
It is, because you know what? Everyone's got something to prove. Like I discovered this. There's a book how to deal with misled people. There's a book on everything. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe this is the way forward, because we're creating coping mechanisms, giving people advice how to deal with broken people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Rather than being individuals and showing people the light. Do you understand? So if you read a book now, and let's say me and my girlfriend are having dramas, blah, 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 and I read a book and it tells me, okay, do this, do that, do that, do that, yeah? And you'll see the difference in her.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, books are knowledgeable, how you perceive them. You have to have your own touch on something. But if I do this, do that, and do that, I'm not necessarily being me. No contentment comes from that. It's also an art of manipulation, good or bad.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you? I'm trying to make you behave a certain way that I want you to behave, to please me.
I couldn't agree more, because relationships are largely predicated on the art of manipulation. And this is one of the ways, or one of the reasons, should I say, that I feel a lot of relationships break down, because the manipulation over or outweighs the communication channels.
Trust.
And therefore damages the trust. It damages the longevity and the structure of the relationship. It's like a house, right? If you build a house with no foundations, with no values, in a relationship, the house was going to crumble. It doesn't matter how beautiful you make the house for a period of time.
Of course.
It will fall.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, in terms of polarity, this is something that I coach quite heavily in now, moving away from kind of personal training and into the mindset space.
Yeah.
And many men are struggling with this polarity. They do not understand the nature of masculine and feminine energy. They do not understand that manipulation is simply an escapism of self-love.
Has an expiry date.
It has an expiry date, but and yes, correct. But more to the point, if you are manipulating another, it goes back to your original point, you're manipulating yourself. You're not on your true path. Yeah. And I always say, if you're searching for purpose, if you're searching for who you are as a man, the basis of that is faith. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that I'm in good company,
of course,
in opening up that line of conversation, but the basis of it is faith. And I'm often met in that regard of, well, you're not Christian. Okay. Well, you don't believe in God. Okay. I believe in faith. I'm faith-led. I wake up every morning and I pay thanks. You know, whether you wake up and you lay down on your knees on a prayer mat and pray, or whether you close your hands together in the traditional sense, whether you go to the church, or whether you wake up and you pay your thanks, you are acting in a faith-led way. In terms of masculinity, in terms of understanding polarity and recognizing that the masculine and the feminine energy are a unity, they are not a separation or a manipulation. You start your day with gratitude, and you will be led that way. You'll start to understand, in terms of relationship senses, that if you're grateful, the other person in that relationship is grateful too. It's a reciprocated energy, and it all comes from faith.
Yeah. And this is a big thing. When it comes to faith, like, I'm a visionary.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I see past what I see.
Like a higher perspective?
I see past what I see. Does that make sense? I see you, but I see way past that.
Yep.
This is what allows me to do my job and be good with people. It's something I didn't create, God created. Even if I don't see it clearly, I see it. So this is what we're talking about faith. When you're talking about faith, is you have to see past even what you're going through. Yeah? You have to be present. Don't get me wrong. Yeah? But your presence changes every second, every nanosecond. Yeah? But to see that and see past that without experiencing it takes great courage. Whether you've seen it through someone else or through the experience you're currently having, negative or positive. Yeah? Though I'm a visionary, it doesn't mean I get to skip the experience.
True.
Okay? The experience is what prepares me for where I'm meant to be.
How laid back are you, T? That's a question. Because what you're talking about there, and the man that I know, the experience of you that I know, because I know that we're all multifaceted. Who you are perceived to be by me is not the same as who you're perceived to be by somebody else, a parent or a partner and even another friend, right? They say that we have 7 different relationships with 7 different people at any one time, or something of that nature, which is kind of crazy and scary and exhilarating all at the same time, such is the nature and the parody of life, right? But how laid back are you is a very simple question that has a hell of a lot of depth behind it. You know, you do seem zen, you seem calm and controlled and composed, and that's very stoic.
It is stoic because the battles are never inside. I say it all the time. The battle's always it's with me and myself. It's personal.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that allows me to be calm. If you look at, they say Jesus Christ would go up into the mountain for 4 hours before he dealt with someone for 1 hour. I don't know the exact time, but he would spend more time with himself and God than anybody else.
So the teaching of, for example, if you feel a certain emotion that might, like a retaliation or an anger or a frustration, to take time away before you respond.
What's this in regards to relationships or
anything?
Any relationship?
Anything, any form of communication. Like if you're in your job, for example, and you have somebody that's late, as a coach, I know because I've worked the same job for a decade. It's highly frustrating.
Of course it is.
Because there's a disrespect of your time.
Of course. And
so how do you respond?
I respond because some days I respond well. I'm human like everybody else. Some days I have to let them know that, okay, remember, okay, let's break it down into building blocks. Attention, wherever you put your attention, your energy goes.
Yeah.
Do you understand? People that are late for me, want some sort of attention, whether good or bad. And this is coming from a disciplined point of view.
Interesting.
Do you understand? Yeah. So it's like there's some people that do it on purpose. Promise you.
Yeah. I've experienced.
But there's some people that don't do it on purpose. That are genuine, just late. 2 factors. It's meant to happen. So we take it back to faith.
It's meant to happen because it is happening.
It's happening. It's reality. You can't change it.
It's the present moment.
You cannot change it. Even if you this is everyone's prime example, and I'm sure everyone who drives goes through it. When you're in a rush, there's always a slow car in front of you. Always. That's God's biggest sign. It's meant to happen. Don't rush. There's no need to rush. So the first thing is I do my best because I'm not perfect. I am perfect being me, but I'm perfect through my mistakes as well. So I do my best to accept it first. Do you understand? Yeah. Then I do my best not to take it personally. And I say, okay, how does this affect me? Okay. Because it breaks the bond straight away. If you're 10 minutes late for my session, anyone who knows me, I will not speak freely with you probably for about the next 5 minutes because
you're processing.
Yeah, you've kind of disrespected time I'm never going to get again. But I have to accept it was meant to happen. Yeah? So I do my best not to get frustrated, So like I process it, then I carry on. But time is such a valuable thing.
Isn't it just?
So 2 things. I have one option to tell this person that my time is valuable. Please treasure it. Because I don't have to be a personal trainer. It's by choice and it's for love of you to help you. So you have to assert yourself as a person of value first and foremost. Okay? And this will people will start to understand this, you know. And I went through stages where, okay, you show up 10 minutes late, I'm not even going to text you. I'm going.
So you applied a different strategy to it.
Because you know what? I still
have.
have choice within my reality.
Uh-huh.
You still have choice within your reality. It's not personal.
No.
But you didn't text me and you're 10 minutes late. I walk.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what it was, and I highly blame this phone thing. Let me not play blame. I shouldn't use the word blame, but people are very relaxed because they feel they can send you a text, I'm running 5 minutes late. When I was growing up, we had phone boxes. You could not be late to any meeting.
No.
You would show up 5 minutes early.
There's the quote, isn't it? Unless you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, and when it's how you treat yourself, people will begin to treat you as well. You know, like then, and remember this, yeah? It's not personal. When you try to assert yourself, as long as you're not shouting or harassing anybody, you're free to act as you please to act. They're free to be late. That's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm free to walk after 10 minutes. That's my choice.
Mm.
It's nothing personal.
And honouring that freedom of choice is important, because what I see in the public space is there are many, many people that aren't punctual. And you are right. These things are a problem. They're a blessing and a curse, right? Again, I don't want to put that word in, but they're a blessing and a curse, because these things are keeping us locked in to these.
Yeah.
And so our attention to the finer details and the old school values of punctuality being one of them is slowly becoming lost.
You know, one of the things I pray for of
Go
lately,
on.
I pray to God to be in time and not to watch time.
Be in time and not watch time.
Yeah. Because you know why, yeah? We're always watching the clock.
Always.
Always. And we're measuring stuff. We're not experiencing to the fullest. So if you're within time, you become time. And there's no sense of time. There's just pleasure or experience and growth or learning. Because I found myself trying to pass time by. It's like burning time.
Interesting. How often do you do that?
Because like sometimes I do it a lot. Sometimes I feel, okay, look, but I'm very active. So I've learned to do stillness as well. I could wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, take the dogs for a walk. Yeah, listen to this, yeah? This was my Friday. Take the dog, not this Friday, the dogs weren't there, but usually I'll take the dogs for a walk, say my prayers, go train. I would have been up to the mountains and had a swim in the sea, all before 10 o'clock. What do I do for the rest of the day? Yeah? But I'm not wrong for that. I want more of that. But then I have to also say, okay, look, am I looking for experience, or can I keep still? I learned to keep still, and I learned the value of stillness. No sound, silence, everything. If you learn the value of stillness, you'll understand movement. If you understand silence, you'll understand speech and noise. It's yin and yang. Everything's balanced.
The homeostatic nature of life.
Yeah.
It's another thing that we coach quite heavily on is polarity, and then the art of stillness, and the art of the art of stillness comes from the art of sacrifice.
Of course.
But the misconception is that sacrifice is just a negative. A lot of men in their lives, a lot of humans, I'm not just kind of putting this one gender, but a lot of people, they still consider sacrifice as a negative. And I think...
Define sacrifice.
Well, I can, because I've been thinking about it a lot recently. I go back to being a father.
Yeah.
I don't have 4 children, and I didn't start having children at 19. That's a unique experience, in my opinion. I kind of went the classic way, if you will. I had a child, my first child, at 31. But I was more than ready for that child. And a lot of my friends who don't have children at my age, at 33, they still have a misconception that to have children means to sacrifice. And whilst they're correct, my understanding since becoming a father, and I wonder if you will agree with me, is that sacrifice has gifted me more than non-sacrifice ever did.
I totally agree. this is a key thing. If you abuse freedom, listen to this very carefully, yeah? If you abuse any sense of freedom, it will imprison you.
100%. It becomes your God.
Yeah? It
Jordan
will
Peterson talks
imprison
about
you.
this. Whatever it is that is largely dictating and dominating your day becomes your God.
Yeah.
So be very careful that it's not the highest power that you can possibly be.
Of course.
Because it will meet you in hell. Whether that hell is the depiction of hell that we have in the Bible, if you're particularly religious, or whether that
you can experience hell
whether
here.
that hell is that hell is a sense of abolishment and lack of fulfillment in your life, because we've both been in that position as well. I know what it feels like to feel worthless as an individual, as a man, in my young years, whilst you were out having kids at 19, 20. I was.
But what makes you think I escaped them thoughts when
well,
I had
no,
kids?
absolutely. No, that's not the assumption. Yeah, no, of course you wouldn't have escaped those thoughts, because it's evolutionary for each man. It's going to hit you at different stages.
Of course,
Everybody's story is unique, yet there are parallels to be drawn.
The difference, which I just cut you off, is the difference when I felt like that and I see my child smile, instant uplift.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, it's a game changer. You see them little miracles, and they keep you going.
See, I don't think enough men are talking about this.
Yeah,
I don't think enough men are talking about the beauty and the wonder of fatherhood.
Right. Let me tell you what parenting is nowadays. No disrespect to all you parents out there. I love you all. Right. And it's the truth, whether we like it or not, because of the systems we live in. When we break it down to the fundamentals of polarism, would you say, what's
polarity?
Polarity.
Yeah, polarity is the masculine, feminine energy.
Right. And we have to sometimes retrace our steps and see where we took another turn. I wouldn't say the wrong turn, but another turn.
As parents.
As human beings. Because we have to start with Adam and Eve first in regards to like the parents. Okay? So, modern family. Man and woman work. Let's say in the modern middle class family. Yeah. Okay? They meet, they had their independence beforehand. And this is the building blocks of it, you know. When a man and woman work, yeah, sometimes some men can feel inadequate by this.
100%, because it attacks the originality of the man at a cellular level. It naturally will do that.
Of course. So in these relationships, so the man is now trying to achieve, because of the pressure of what of this, he has something to prove.
Yep.
Okay? This takes away your power straight away. Anything you have to prove to anybody, that means they don't believe in you, you don't believe in yourself. Anything.
And it strips you of the path of truth.
Anything. You feel you have to prove anything to anybody, you're lying.
Yeah.
Because your motive is wrong. Okay? Then women are empowered by having their own independence, which is fantastic. Yeah? But a woman's energy is such a great energy. I'm not saying, because some women are going to go crazy about this, but a woman's vision as well, an ability to create, yeah, is a fascinating thing. The energy can be directed towards the spouse with belief in the spouse. So if someone believes in you, you're motivated, because now your creative juices start flowing. You're not doing nothing under pressure.
It's a crazy point. How nice is it when somebody does demonstrate some
belief in you?
Belief in you.
I have friends.
It makes you feel powerful.
Of course, especially your wife.
Oh, more so than anybody.
Yeah? Especially your wife. So I'm not saying women shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah? But I'm saying don't compete with your men, or don't make them feel that they're under competition. If you've chose to be with that individual, there's a respect that comes from it.
100%.
Right. I'm not saying feed anybody's ego. but show support and belief.
We go back to that word empowerment, one of the, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So it's a law. You go back to what actually drives men from a testosterone level. And at the top of that is going to be empowerment. Empowerment. If you go home and everything from your partner is negative, everything is about the lack of your capabilities or the lack of your skills or your endeavors, then that empowerment level drops and drops and drops. That's when you get the submissive male. That's when you get...
Two things, yeah. So you're trying to strip a man of his masculinity. He was born a man. That's his natural nature. So...
And this isn't controversial, by the way.
This isn't controversial.
This is just. I think this is just a fact.
I've experienced it.
100%.
Firsthand. So I say, okay, look, you can't strip me on masculinity, yeah, because they'll challenge you, and you can't bring. And a psychiatrist told me this. She was a friend at the gym. She said, okay, she told me from my version of things. She said, look, if you argue with your woman. Yeah, and I think I said this on the last podcast actually as well. If you argue with your woman, yeah, you're asking to see her masculine energy. Because if you shout and all this, yeah, that's what us men do.
Yep.
They're not necessarily gravitate, but the modern woman will come at you like a man. If you try and diminish her with your work or your money or the things you do for her, she'll come at you like a man.
Could not agree more.
Does that make sense to you? So all these things, imagine you're in competition with your partner, not in harmony.
Continuously.
Do you understand, yeah? Harmony is a jigsaw puzzle. We know we both have a role to play. You know what I mean? If we are the same piece, it doesn't work. Yeah?
That's an interesting analogy as well.
We forge one to become one. Two become one, they say. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right? Then, once two become one, you now initiate creation. Talking about children. Okay? Once these children are born, because we go back to fatherhood and parenting now. This is flipping back to the subject. If there's that oneness, it's almost like playing a nice table tennis match. There's a flow. One side. This is the child in the middle, by the way. You understand? Yeah? But you're cushioning every time the child comes to you, you play your role as a man. Yeah? Every time the child comes to the mother, she plays her role as a mother. Okay? Because they're very clear in their identities and their roles. There's no mismatch. There's no, your dad said don't do that. I mean, like, you can go and do it. Do you understand this?
And you see kids starting to play the parents off one another.
Exactly that. Manipulation.
Yeah.
So they're learning the art of manipulation.
Early.
Because there's no oneness. Then we both working as parents. So we send our children off to school. 9, however long it is, hours a day. Kids come back. Everyone's had a day at work where they've been challenged by everyone. So it becomes a hostile environment. Yeah. The kids have been told what to do, so their freedom is not being exercised at school.
For 8 hours?
For 8 hours. Do that. You've probably been at work, been told what to do. Hey, do that. Your wife's been at work. Do that. Do you understand? So when you come home, everyone's trying to tell everyone what to do.
Yeah, everybody's trying to establish...
trying to establish some sense of freedom.
Some freedom and power.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what they're exposed to. So when they come home, that becomes the war zone.
So in that situation, what would you say is the solution? Because for many people, this is the norm. This is their reality. Like you said earlier, the reality that they're living is 9 to 5s for mum, dad, and the kids. So when they come home, what's the solution to that problem? Because this is
it comes like a light bulb.
Go.
Right. Everybody has to go back to the beginning. When you met your partner, what was that initial feeling like? Do you understand?
Pure excitement.
Right. Pure excitement. And that means, this is what I love about, they call it perfect strangers.
Yeah.
A stranger is the most perfect person you meet.
Yeah.
There's no judgment.
Yeah.
There's no emotional attachment, there's no judgment. They just let you be you. Yeah? So you have to be perfect strangers when you come home. I see my missus and I say, okay, this is why I fell in love with this woman. I have to go back to the fundamentals. Yeah? When my baby was born, I have to go back to this. You have to always touch base and go back to the beginning. Because the beginning is the end, believe it or not. Yeah? That's the purest stage of it all, the 100%. Beginning.
It's secular.
Yeah.
The relationship is secular.
So when it gets sticky, I'll go back to the beginning.
Go back to the beginning.
I say, why do I love you? I remember why I love this chick. You understand? Yeah. That's my son. When he was born, I was over the moon. I go back to the natural state of love. And that's where it all begins, love. Because you chose to love that person. Not, I'm trying to prove a point to her. Okay, she wants the leg up. I have 2 legs up and we'll have some fun. You understand? But it's not the battle. Like, and I always, all the women I've been with, I say, look, I haven't come home to battle with you. And because I'm so laid back, women test your masculinity. And I say this all the time. Don't test my masculinity. It's not to be expressed on you. In any way, any form, any shape. It's for me to work on my purpose and protect you.
So do you think that there's a misconception from some females as to what masculinity actually is? They want the riled up man. They want you to come home like
let me tell you,
on a horse.
My personal experience is I'm so laid back, but I'm built for my purpose.
Right.
Does that make sense? And they want to experience this. They want to see me half lose my shit. Do you understand? Because I'm so laid back. But I will always be laid back.
Now, you're a rare breed.
Yeah.
A laid back man is a rare breed. I like to call it more composed, right?
Yeah.
It's a composed man. It's a man that's confident and faith led, and all of the old school values, right?
It's confidence.
So one of the things that I absolutely love seeing in other men, and actually those men are now friends of mine.
Yeah.
As we're old friends, for example, and I don't mean to be kind of like disrespectful to anybody that's been in my past, but many men that I've been friends with in the past, they aren't able to act in a composed way.
It's hard. Bro.
Composure escapes them.
It's hard because for any man, he just wants to be a man. And imagine you're not allowed,
that freedom.
It's not even allowed. Society, if you go to work and someone who's telling you what to do is trying to treat you like a prick, but if we was out the building, you would never talk to me like that.
True. So it goes back to that primitive sense of self as a man.
Of course.
Of empowerment.
Why are you not working for someone?
Because I would feel disempowered.
Right.
I would feel owned.
It would kill your creative juices.
100%. I knew that from very young, which is why I took the path that I did. But many, many people don't do that. That may be not a large part of their characteristic makeup. But I do believe that primitively, it's still there. Right. I still don't believe that a man working a 9 to 5 will necessarily come home and act stoic and composed in the same way that we're describing your characteristics.
Because, we talk about, we have emotions and we have energy. But we're not allowed to fully experience these emotions and energy. So what people do is they have emotional releases, whether it be drugs, whether it be gym, whether it be, it's like a pressure valve.
It's an escapism.
Right. So time to time, they need to release. Even if I don't go gym, it's part of my psyche.
This is a crazy practical piece of advice. This is not futile. This is absolutely going to help somebody that's listening. If you feel like you're a man who isn't what we're describing as composed and calm and bringing that presence into the family house, and you can't express your feelings at work because you're working a 9 to 5 with somebody telling you what to do, find something where you can express yourself,
It's got very controversial. You're right in regards to express yourself.
Get your energy out.
You need to express yourself to get new energy. Otherwise, you become stagnant in your energy and you become stagnant in the way you deal with people and address yourself and address people.
True.
So you need to exercise energy. Energy is all, has to circulate.
The gym has been fantastic for that.
So initially, my relationship with the gym was escapism.
Yeah.
I learned to love it because it's, for me, it's meditation. It's not even the exercise, it's not the byproduct. It's when I speak to God, it's when like I get ideas. It's meditation for me because I stick my headphones on. Please don't disturb me for the hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't take the headphones out to say hello, not because I'm being rude, because this is...
No, I mean, you and I have crossed paths in the gym maybe, 1,000 times?
Yeah. This is my precious time.
Maybe we've said hello on 70% of those times, but there are definitely 30% of the times that you and I have crossed paths in the gym where we haven't said hello.
No, yeah,
and that's with good reason.
Yeah,
you know,
because you're in a zone. You're in a state of flow.
Connection.
And this is what it is. And, you know, everyone needs to find that. But sometimes you're not going to get that. That's why I start to learn to value. After I got gym crazy, I learned to value stillness, because once you value that stillness, like I went through a stage in my life, bro, I could read a book, I get mad kicks out of it. I could jump on the bike, I get mad kicks out of it. I could sit and do that sweet FA, I get mad kicks out of it, because I'm experiencing all aspects of life.
Yeah, that's a high
fully.
power. That's a high power.
And this is it. And this is what people don't do. There's no allocate. You got to allocate time, and just it's organization, because sometimes you don't have the time to be organized. But if you organize your time and don't sacrifice it for nothing or no one but God. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have perfect balance. And this is what life is about. We're meant to experience everything. So we talk about these pressure valves. Someone works. I had a friend ages ago. He said, he was a estate agent. And I'm a personal trainer. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And he said to me, T, are we going out this Friday? I said, bro, I ain't going nowhere. He said, bro, I need this.
Need the blowout.
And he said it from the bottom of his heart. I said, I get it. And he taught me something that day. Because that's his reset button for Monday. That's why in England, they got this culture of going out on Fridays, getting plastered, so they can go back to escape. Like,
normality.
It's not normality. If we're truthful, that's not normality.
To
they
them,
go back
it's
to
normal.
their
It's the reality.
social prisons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, okay, this is my job. This is my status. This is who I am. I'm known as the estate agent from Edgware or something like this. Do you understand? And this is how I built my confidence around, you know, and this is what everyone does. When people go on holiday, you see people go mad, especially here in Marbella, but you can't blame them. This is their release. I worked in the clubs. When I worked in the day club, I don't want to mention no names, I see it.
Yeah.
And I see they get plastered, but they get plastered because they have no release. I'm thank God, I have hope, I have faith. That's where it's a sense of surrender. I say, everything's going to be okay. I give it to you, God. And it's all going to be okay. Because I've been tested time after time and time. And it's my faith that gets me through.
I remember being in that place. I remember being that person that would escape in that same way, because I was working the 9-to-5 corporate jobs in recruitment back in the UK. And I always had that hope, that little burning, I like to call it the flicker of flame of hope in the pit of the stomach, you know, that even when things are treacherous outside, you still can, in deep reflection, find that little flicker of a flame, and it will be enough to drive you. So even during those moments where I felt that I needed to escape, Friday night would come, I would go wild, loose. There's things that I've done that I'm really not very proud of. I wouldn't say regret.
It's part of your experience.
It's a part of the experience of growing up.
Man,
you know? I was a very typical Southern English boy at 2021, right? Just doing the same sort of stuff that everybody does. The difference being, and this is where I go back to fatherhood, when I got to 26, 27 and I started to sit in coffee shops, having a conversation with somebody like yourself, and in would walk like a mother with like babies or whatever. Yeah. My
Even
attention,
thinking about it makes me smile.
My attention would be naturally pulled to one side.
Yeah.
And that's because fatherhood, the clock was starting to tick in me to say, look, there's something beyond you. There's something more important than you now. And whether that be in a year
Yeah,
or
right.
5 years, God has a plan for you.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Listen to the message you said, yeah? There's something for you.
Yeah.
Listen to this message very carefully. Everybody out here, listen, yeah? You see kids, yeah? That's the purest entities we have here. And they are our greatest teachers. You sit with a little one, you learn so much. I have the best conversations with people younger than me because there's pureness in them. They can be real. And a child will be as honest with you as possible.
Yeah.
They say, you got shit on your head. And like, they're that honest. They don't, there's no filter. They don't care about your emotions. They're not trying to feed your insecurities. They're telling you the truth, and they are the truth. So when you're blessed with a child, learn from that child. Don't think you're going, because don't contaminate with a child with stuff you learned. Guide them and protect them.
With all the things that you wish you had learned.
And remember, they're newer than you on this earth. So they're the new age. Don't corrupt them with your fears. Don't do that. Don't do this. Like with my first son, I was very pushy. With my next son, I was like, show me, but I'll be there to catch you. If you're going to jump off there, make sure I'm always there when you're going to jump.
What corrected that behavior in you?
It's just me. I just knew, okay, I wanted my first son to be what I wasn't.
Yeah.
Or the father that I needed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So it was a combination of two, which was a catastrophe. Because it was like pushy, do that, do this.
Can resonate with that.
You know what I mean? And say, okay, like, this kid don't want this. You know what I mean?
I went to see a spiritual healer not long ago here in Marbella. She was fantastic. And one of the things that she said to me straight away was...
Your inner child.
Yeah, she said, yeah, of course.
I've been there, trust me.
Yeah, she said, Joe, he's a wonderful little boy, but you've lost touch with him.
Yeah.
And he needs you. He needs you to reconnect.
Yeah,
and he needs you now more than ever because he is in your child. He is his passing of energy is through your child.
Okay.
And he needs you. He needs you more than ever. And that really played on my mind for quite a long time. It still does now.
Yeah.
And now I feel that there's a far deeper connection to him. I go back to the times when I was a child, and I feel reassured that he's going to be good.
Yeah.
You
let him know that, and that releases the trauma.
He's going to be all right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he was blasted sensitive, which I was as a kid, like too sensitive for your own good. Yeah. You know, you don't have the qualities that real men are going to need.
Yeah.
You know, actually, sensitivity has been a characteristic trait of mine.
Of course.
That has led me to help other people heal from their traumas.
Of course.
To create things that weren't previously created.
Of course.
And I think that's what I want to talk about fatherhood from today's podcast is the most fundamental part of being a father. If you are listening to this and you're not yet a father and you're fearful of the sacrifice that you're going to have to make to become one, just from my experience, because I can't speak in a general term, but from my experience, the sacrifices that I had to make to become the father that I always knew I could be are insurmountable to the lessons, the values, and the experiences, the joy of the experiences that I've gained off the back of it.
Okay, perfect. And goes out to you people that want to be fathers. Exercise being a father figure in your community, the best 100%.
That's great advice.
And it's so important. Like, I live here in Marbella, I don't see my children. But I'm a father figure for loads of children because I'm going to exercise that quality within me. Whether it's with them, whether it's with someone else's child, I'm always going to exercise that quality because it's nothing that should be suppressed, you know. And if you don't have children of your own, show love to children that need it because there's people that need guidance, and sometimes you're not, it's the way God does it. Sometimes you're not meant to have your children of your own so you can help other children because you don't see it. There's that connection where you don't feel you have to. You're doing it because you love to.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that's a totally different perception. I had stepchildren in certain relationships, and winning their love because it wasn't compulsory for me or for the child involved. But winning the love and the respect after a battle, because she tested me. She said, well, okay, you want to be my dad? Show me. Like, we go through this. Let's see. And in the end, just the love, the natural love. It's a different type of love.
Yeah.
And this is what people got to understand. As a man or a woman, you got an inert nature in you to be a mother.
To protect.
Yeah. Or as a father, you got the inert nature in you to be a father. It's just in you. That's why before we was fathers, we was great uncles.
Yeah.
So the community needs father figures. If you haven't got a child of your own, don't moan about it. Just put yourself in a position where you can help other people's children or shine some light or give something back to the community as a father figure. Things that, you might have gone through something that makes you relatable to these children as a kid. And because you're relatable to them, you understand what they're presently going through. So you can help them shift in the most positive manner. So we all go through things for a reason. I have this strong belief that if I go through one bad thing, I'm making sure 10 people don't go through that thing ever again.
Yeah, to stop the ripple effect.
It's so important because like we talk about sacrifice. Yes, you have to go through stuff. But when you get through stuff, do you think about yourself or do you think, I was meant to go through this to change the cycle?
Exactly that.
So it's like you have to think, okay, I've gone through this. I've got to change the cycle now.
I can't go out every night of the weekend and get off my face. To some people, that's a sacrifice. Like, to me as a father, that's a blessing.
Of course.
That I can't do that now. That I've been redirected. A new path was awaiting me, I can't go and just spend money like it's sand through my hands,
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, my financial security has absolutely come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Because now I can't do that. There's something bigger than me.
Of course.
She's bigger than me.
Of course. And
She when I think about that, the smile that puts on my face and how that lights my soul up, and all fathers will definitely know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That somebody is bigger than you.
Yeah.
That sacrifice is something that's translatable into the community. I love that point. Like, be a good father in the community. Like, be there for people and give yourself an opportunity to just feel what it is like to give rather than to take from your own life.
You have to give, the biggest gift we have is the gift of gift.
100%.
It's the only thing that gives full elation that you think, whoa.
You receive so much more too. Not that you don't give to your children or to your community or to your partner, your spouse or your peers in the hope that you get something in return. But how many times has it happened?
That's why you see,
this is the law of attraction. If you put out something to the wider community or the people that you care about the most intrinsically, watch what the universe does for you.
This is it.
Watch what God has in store.
This is why I love strangers. I can give to a stranger and not expect a thing back. And give to my loved ones and not expect a thing back. But that's why sometimes you have to treat people like strangers. Because you don't know someone in full depth. You can say you know me, but you don't know me. So some days you have to treat me like a stranger to hear what I got to say. Not what you expect me to say. Because I might need your help one day, emotionally, do you understand, as a brother, and you might say one thing that ticks me off and makes me fly. But if you expect from me, you might say, okay, tea's always good.
Exactly.
Does that make sense to you? But like I said, we all need. So it's best to, when you come in contact with someone, even if you've seen them for years, go with an open mind. Think, this person's a perfect stranger. I'm going to engage open-heartedly and see what the message is. Because when we interact, there's code, there's messages. If I expect you to say this, it's the same shit. So I half switch off.
Mm.
You know, when I sat down with you today, I was half nervous. I'm saying, shit, this one's going to be an emotional one. And when you spoke about fatherhood, yeah, I haven't touched on it in depth because my children are old enough and there's so many people involved in my experience as a father.
Sure.
And it's been hills and it's been an emotional roller coaster being a father.
I don't think for anybody it's not.
Yeah, so it's like I can only speak on my experience.
Exactly.
But I see other people's experiences as well. And my experiences as a father has allowed me to share my experiences and say, look, this was the outcome of my experiences because I responded like this. I saw someone and I spoke to them about my experience because they was going through a similar thing. And I said, look, all the things I'd done, please don't do. He saw me a year later, said, you know what, T, that conversation we had changed the game. This is what I'm telling you. Like, whatever you go through that you think is bad, and this is the ultimate sacrifice. I'm not going to reap no reward from this pain I feel or this experience. The reward is to help someone else not go through this.
Yeah.
And it's a domino effect, like you said, it changes everything. You know, like sacrifice. My sacrifice was go through this T and help other people not go through this.
And I think that's a pretty damn fine-tuned purpose for a man to have.
Yeah, of course. We're all here to make a difference. This is a journey of tests. Like, you know, but we all get caught up and say, like, how am I going to benefit from this journey? It's not about you. It's about collective. It's not what I want.
It's about what we can achieve.
Yeah.
What can we cultivate, whether that's a family or whether that's a wider community or however that's structured. It's what can we collectively achieve?
How do we evolve in the right direction? You know, like, it's mad. The world is a lot of people that hold knowledge and hold it back from the general, from the whole collective. Because...
Why do you think people do that?
Because it's a power thing. But there's a famous saying, I'm not bang on quote for this, but people that are powerful, yeah, they're led to believe that they don't have no power. Remember, the collective is bigger than the people in power. So if you're being told, right, we send our children to schools from day one. It's an institute of conformity.
Mm-hmm. Stand in line.
Do as we say. Programmed.
Program.
This is a deeper subject.
Mm. That's another podcast.
Do you understand? So it's like, if we all said fuck it today and we're going to run riot, yeah? I don't want to lose my Ferrari. Fuck your Ferrari. Yeah? I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to lose my job. If we all run riot today, yeah? We all share the power. Remember, we're all equal, you know?
It's a very stoic philosophy, and it's definitely something that in mind I would love to be able to encompass, and for everybody to be able to encompass. I think in terms of practicality, day to day, it's just not what we see. You're describing the commonalities of people's everyday lives. You know, I own the Ferrari. I'm not giving that up for no one. You know, my kid goes to school. That's a system that's institutionalized. It's centralized. It's all we
Gives
know.
me a breather for the day.
Exactly.
This is when we go back to fatherhood. This is what I was going to touch on. When the kids are on summer holidays, I see some parents pulling their hair out.
Yeah,
they don't know what the fuck
to do. You read some dodgy statuses online that's about
send them back to school. Like, mate, listen, this is your child.
Yeah,
and you have to understand, yeah. If your child is misbehaving in any sense, you're missing a trick somewhere. because they're looking for guidance. This is a message to all the parents out there, including myself. Yeah? If your child is misbehaving, they're seeking guidance.
Tony Robbins said it. He said, all forms of human communication comes from two things. Either it's coming from a place of love or it's a cry for help.
Yep. And that's it.
Children are no different. And in actual fact, it's probably more relevant for children who have less ability to communicate effectively than adults.
Because one thing you don't do is, we're not taught to listen. We're taught with a parent, the child has to do that. If you listen to the child, if you take time out to listen to the child, you're going to learn something for sure, first and foremost. Second of all, you understand what the child is trying to communicate to you, not what you think you should be doing or listening to.
Yeah, this is great advice for all parents, because if you have children and their form of communication is translated or is, let's say, presented, wrapped up as bad behavior or what you consider to be bad behavior.
Those are the great, when you see bad behaved children, yeah?
They need someone to actually guide them.
Those are the greatest leaders.
Yeah.
Because they're full of energy, full of stuff, but there's no guidance, there's no support.
Yeah.
There's no, they're trying to express their greatest asset by being put on this earth as an individual. But we're putting them in buckets. We're putting them in pockets. Do that. And you cannot do that to a child. This child was brought on this earth to do something different from you.
This is one of many reasons why I absolutely love seeing Sarah mother.
Yeah.
As a mother.
Yeah.
She was born to mother.
Yeah.
And one of the many reasons I love seeing her mother is because of this exact point. Ocean is totally her equal. Yeah. Ocean has absolutely every ability to express herself in any which way she pleases. Yeah. She is free to explore foods. Yeah. This is another thing we see, like on a practicality everyday level. Parents don't want the mess, right? They perceive mess to be bad behavior, throwing food. Yeah. Children are exploring tastes, textures, colors. They're exploring all of these things. Like, what does that feel like on my face here? What does that look like on the floor there? You know that?
It looks like a Hoover.
It looks like a bloody big mess that I'm going to have to clean up in a minute. And it's relentless because it's every day. But this is one thing that great mothers, I love seeing it, man. I personally, this is the sort of shit that turns me on. Yeah. Because when you see that in a woman or even in a father giving the same ability to their child, go and express yourself freely. And guess what? If you're in danger, I'm there.
Yeah, that's the confidence. Of course.
Beyond that, do as you please. Now that is controversial. Many people are going to be watching this thinking that, God, that's not how I parent and your house must be fucking nuts.
No, but the thing is, it's anything.
It's freedom.
If you don't give people freedom as well, when they do get it, they're gonna lash out.
100%.
You understand? But if you give them freedom, if you exercise freedom from the very beginning, people know how to deal with freedom. It's like when I train my dogs. My dogs ain't my children, by the way. Even with my children, to be honest, the first one I'm a bit strict with. The other two I'm very liberal with. You understand? Whatever you do, I'll support you. If you're not, but you make that decision. Mm-hmm. If you make that decision, you have my back.
Yeah.
Don't F up. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Because you made the decision. I didn't make the decision. Yeah.
Yeah. So ownership and responsibility.
You have my support and you have my backing. However, which way. If you show no seriousness, I can't support that. As a father, this is coming from a discipline point of view because I've given you the freedom. You know what I mean? I will guide you time to time. I will step in and say, okay, what's the plan? Do you have one? I mean, my boy is 17 now. My middle one, he's just got a job and he's working hard. Like one thing I love about my kids, they got my work ethics.
Okay.
They graft, do you understand? But I also say, look, don't get stuck in this. Exercise your freedom, exercise what you want to do. Because you know what? I can't, even my older son, we had a conversation one time and I said, look, I know I wanted this for you, but I know God wants different from you. And I can't change what God wants for you.
Right.
So you have to do what you want to do. But best believe if you're doing it, you got my back. I know when to kick in.
That comes with experience. I mean, you're many years ahead in terms of like how old your children are, how the longevity of you being a father. I'm only
doesn't mean I still got a lot to learn, because even now I see you with your child. I know, okay, look, I want 2 more children. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's parts of I never saw my children for 2 years. Yeah. So there's parts of them that I missed out on. Do you understand? And being there for your children is this was my path in life, because me not being there for 2 years made me open to learn about, let's say, my stepdaughter. I had a great relationship with her. Like God said, okay, you're not going to see your children, but I'm going to see how you are with other people's children. Even now, I still train kids because,
next gen.
It's next gen.
Yeah.
It's what am I putting out there?
Yeah.
They learn from me. They see what I do, and it's a different thing, because their expectation of what I should be doing are totally different from what I'm doing. So thanks to God, I'm shining my light in a different way. I'm not trying to be some superhero. I'm cool. I'm half cool, but I'm very capable.
That self-reflection and that self-auditory is something that I implore anybody to do. Because if you can't do that and you can't recognize that actually you're not a perfect person and that you're going to make mistakes as a parent, as an employee, as a friend, whatever your titles are, like everybody's got these labels in life, whatever they are, if you can recognize that actually you're never going to be perfect, no matter if you've got 4 kids, you want another 2, you want 6, plus stepchildren. I mean,
like 10.
How many are you going to how many are we going to go to? Double figures.
Yeah.
You're still sat there saying, I'm not going to be perfect for none of these.
Yeah, because they all require something different from me. And to be honest with you, I might not teach none of my, you see with my kids, I don't spend that much time with them. I'll be honest, I'm not going to pretend I'm the perfect dad, but I'm a great father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my biological children, I don't see every day.
Yeah.
But the children I am around, I make sure I have an influence on. Yeah.
I think I can go as far as saying, I know I don't, you said earlier, people don't ever know 100% who you are, but from what I do know of you, I think I can say with full confidence, T, you're a great father to every child that you ever meet. And I can say that from my experience of when you first met my child. In actual fact, before my child was even born, you were a great father, a great uncle, a great leader of what masculinity is towards children. You have that compassion, you have that empathy, the understanding, and also, most importantly, you have the time for children. Oh, and I think that by the grace of God is a strength that you've been gifted.
No, and I appreciate, you know what? They're just real. They're the realest people you'll ever come in contact with.
Children and dogs.
They're real. They just tell you how it is.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? And they want to play. And I'm thinking, boy, I ain't got any energy to play, man. I'm an old man now. But you play, and then you laugh.
Yeah.
And they laugh, and you think, whoa, this is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So it's it's even older children, every aspect of a child growing up, even, I say, little brothers. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even that role. If you can pass on your experience with knowledge and wisdom, because you can pass knowledge on, but you got to push people to apply.
100%. And have fun with it. You and I both know, just to kind of bring this to a close at some point, I know I'm conscious of time, but just to kind of reiterate that final point on the younger brother, big brother thing. I know that you've had clients and you've expressed that you train the next generation, the younger children. The sense of fulfillment and purpose that you and I have both shared over those.
I witnessed some of yours.
Over those roles. I've had one lad shout out to Gleb. He's asked for it. I said I was doing a podcast with his hero T, and he said, you have to shout me out. So there you go. There's yours, Gleb. That's your one for free. And
he's grown now, man.
And the next bottle of water's on you.
He's grown up,
He's grown, I've been training this young man since he was 14. Yeah. He goes to university next year. And he's, I'm not taking responsibility for his development. He is vastly more intellectual than I am, far more wise.
You filled the holes he needed filling.
Far more wise. What a young man that is.
Yeah.
What a young man. But to be a part of that journey, to have some kind of impact. I had another client, Joe Stanton, back in the day when I was first PT in my hometown. Joe cycled to the studio to come in, and he said, "Oh, we've got the same barber." He was just 17 or 18 years old at the time, and he was just a little tubby, out of shape 18-year-old, and he's with glasses, looked like the Milky Bar kid. And he said, "Oh, we've got the same barber," and the barber says that he trains with you, and that I should come and see you because I want to be a man. And I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
I don't have no time right now. And then I suddenly like kind of shooed him away, and then instantly went out the door. "Joe, come back. I'm going to make some time. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was just so a matter of process." You know, a year later, Joe Stanton stands on stage in the fitness modeling category at Pure Elite.
I see this.
Shredded. I'll
I see this.
post a photo after this, but shredded. I
see this.
And he said to me, "Do you know the best bit?" He said, "I now get invited to all of the 18th birthday parties, and everyone wants to see my six-pack."
Of course. You know what? And that's it, because he needed you. This is how God sends blessings in your life. Because as much as you're giving him fulfillment, he's giving you a greater sense of fulfillment, because you're activating your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what one of the reasons why we're starting these podcasts, because we need to talk about people's purpose and activating your purpose and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and understanding them and being confident in them. So everyone has purpose. Everyone has a purpose. And the quicker we realize this, the freer we'll be as individuals. And we always need to evolve and change. But we need to appreciate the process and love the process. Because with or without you, things are going to change. Why not be a part of it, you know, and activate your purpose within the bigger process of the evolution of mankind, you know, and making this place a place of peaceful energy. You know what they say peace is, Joe? Calm confidence.
No, I love that.
Yeah? That's what they say peace is.
Calm confidence.
Because masculinity doesn't mean you have anything to prove.
True.
Do you understand, yeah? It means you know who you are and you know what to do with you and how to impact without seeking attention.
Or approval.
Exactly.
Amen to that, brother.
So, yeah, man. On that note, it was a good one, man. It was a good one. A good one.
A blessing.
A blessing. A very good blessing. Yeah, man.
Thank you, brother.
Good. Thank God, man.